Forgot to plug my mic in, so. You guys hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me.
Going up. Hello.
Everybody. And you know, apparently not so much.
Wow. Look at all these people.
All right, I think I found them. All right, I think I got y'all muted, hopefully. You guys hear me good? Good. Okay, I'm gonna give it one more minute. I'm excited to see all of you. Hope everybody's good. Everybody having a good week? Yeah? Good. I'm a little distracted, I apologize. All right. We are recording, and I'm really excited that all of you are on. Just give me a second to kind of get my bearings straight. It's been kind of a crazy day around here. But as I hold people accountable for what we've got on our calendars, I hold true to mine to, life doesn't stop because things happen in our life. And I know that sounds kind of cold and harsh, but that is just reality. And I know many of you guys are building this business to free yourselves financially. And, today for me was another reminder of why I've pushed as hard as I did, especially in my 90-day game plans in the beginning. And even still today, I am here because of all of you, and I care about you, and I've promised to help you get to your dreams if you're willing to put in the work. So I will be here with you. Life does happen. Things do happen, but we show up and we do the work. And it's still going to be there when I'm done here. And that's great, but I was really taken back today and feeling really blessed that I didn't have to rush home from work. I didn't have to take work off in order to be at a doctor's appointment. I could freely schedule whatever I need to schedule without having to worry too much about time off or anything like that. I remember when Joey broke his arm a few years ago and I was working at a corporate job and my commute was 2 hours, and, just to get to doctor's appointments and things like that, and getting crap for taking time off work. And, so I understand many of you on this call still work full-time, have full-time families. You want freedom for your families. And, I understand things are going to happen. And even today, I have my vision board right there. My why is all over my house. And that's why I'm showing up today. I'm still showing up and putting in the work. And as we go through this 90-day game plan, your life is going to continue to happen around you. And I don't want you to lose focus of why you're doing this. Please. My kids are why I'm doing this. They're everything to me. And I'm here for all of you guys. So we're going to go through this. We're going to bust it out. I've got so much good stuff written down. I'm sure God will put something else on my heart as we go. We are in week 2 of our 90-day game plan, which is exciting. I know many of you have been to work and gotten to work, and many of you were at a blitz over the weekend all over the country, all over the world. I heard great things about all the ones that I wasn't a part of, from Texas to here in Arizona to the East Coast. I was in Seattle. It was amazing. It was amazing. And up in Canada, I had some too. And, getting to an event between now and New Year kickoff is really, really key. We have a lot here in Arizona in the next few months. We've been blessed to link arms with Susan Sly and Wendy Wongren to put together a 90-day game plan every month, TED Talk style. It's really amazing. I encourage you guys to link arms with other leaders wherever you're at. When I started Isagenix, I didn't really know anybody, but I just started kind of doing things by myself. And if anybody showed up, great. And you're going to build relationships all over the place. It's why when you go to events, don't necessarily sit with your Strive friends. Sit with other people. I've met so many different leaders all over Isagenix, part of our Heartline. They're not financially linked to us, but they're definitely part of our hearts. That, when I have team members in another part of the country, another part of the world, I could tap into that because I was willing to make those relationships a priority. So I encourage you to do that within wherever you're at. I don't want to hear the pouting. I wish I was in Arizona. You guys do all the cool stuff. Well, you know what? We made the cool stuff happen before anybody even knew who I was, before anybody, you got to go first. Be the first one. And you know what? If nobody shows, you do it for your dog. You do it for your cat. And that's just how you do it anyway. We're going to do this anyway. So our topics for this week, I told you when we were going to do this 90-day game plan, I loved Eric Worre's leadership thing in Las Vegas. I loved it. I've heard him a couple times, but he was so, so great. And I loved his 10 characteristics habits of a leader. And so the first topic for the first week, we talked about vision, which was really appropriate because we were doing vision boards. And this week it's going to be belief. And, as we go into week 2, I'm sure many of you felt like you've gotten your head kicked in a little bit. You were excited, you had your list, made a few calls, maybe life happened, maybe you ate the cake, maybe you're like, crap, now I'm not a product of the product because I'm eating the ho-hos, whatever that looks like for you. And maybe your belief meter is slipping a little. I'm here to tell you that this is probably the most important piece of staying in the Isagenix game, of being the best you that you can be. And there's a few different areas of belief. If you've been to a university in action, we talk a lot about that. And, the first belief that most of us start Isagenix in is for a health thing, whether it be weight loss, energy, performance, healthy aging. Most of us, 85% of your organization is 100% product users. And so most of us started Isagenix for the products. I know I was one of them. I needed to feel like a truck didn't hit me every day. And so that's why I started Isagenix, and I wanted nothing to do with the business. And, very quickly I was like, okay, I will sell my kids to keep Isagenix. It's true. I mean, I felt that good. And our belief in the products, I'm sure everybody on this call, raise your hand if your belief is a 10 out of 10 on our products, right? And even when we kind of go slip into our old habits and patterns, our go-to is our Isagenix products, because we know we're going to feel like $1 million if we just plugged back in to what we know works. And I don't know why we all slip off of it sometimes. We play that game and we think we got this and we don't need that silly shake. And sure enough, we do. It's the best food on the planet. So I'm not going to harp on our belief in the products, because I believe most of us are here because of those products. Most of us have stayed in the game because of the products. Most of us have decided to share because of how we feel about the products. I used to sell cars and I hated it. I hated every bit of it. And I like big trucks, but I don't necessarily like selling cars. And, it didn't feel good, even though I was really good at it. I knew when I got a taste of Isagenix and knew how I felt with it and how I knew it could help people, it was very, very easy for me to share it because I loved it that much. I share things I love all the time. I have a lot of people on this call that had never been to Lululemon before they met me. And because I love Lululemon, I would say, you gotta go, come with me. And there's lots of people that have me to blame for the couple $100 they dropped there. But that's my point. I love Lulu, and they have never paid me a dime, and I will share it till the day I die. They make a 40-year-old butt feel amazing. And so, I will continue to share it, even though they don't deposit money in my bank account every Monday. But my point is you all raised your hand and said how much you love Isagenix. You believe in Isagenix, and I don't know why you get weird about sharing it. You love it. You love it. Think about your favorite restaurant, your favorite movie, favorite kind of car, your favorite kind of ice, favorite kind of sheets, your favorite, anything that is your favorite, you share it because you love it. Don't get weird about Isagenix. It's a gift. It's a beautiful thing. I'm so grateful Daphne opened up her mouth and shared this with me. It changed my life physically and financially. So the products, we all believe in that. The second is Isagenix as a company. And I know when I first started, I wasn't sure, I didn't know much about it other than what I had Googled. And when I Googled Isagenix, I saw things like family, wellness, integrity, personal excellence, freedom. Those were things I was like, wow, I believe in all of those things. And I don't know many companies out there that stand behind that. And their mission statement to free people from physical and financial pain and in the process build the largest health and wellness company in the world. I get goosebumps every time I say that. And that is a company that stands behind their products with no compromise. There's no compromising our products. And not only that, their other mission statement when it comes to us is if it's not right for the customer, it's not right for the company. You know how many companies I've been a part of, if it wasn't good for their bottom line, it wasn't good for us. Isagenix is the opposite. If it's not good for us, it's not good for them. And I love that. And they have stood behind that 100%. They haven't changed our compensation plan on us unless it's in our favor. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to know that you're part of a company that's not going to change the rules on you unless it's for you. Is that something that you're excited about? You can just thumbs up, do a backflip, whatever. I mean, like I said, I've been part of executive teams at other corporations, and that wasn't the case. I mean, that middleman really gets the bad end of things, if it's not making a big enough profit margin, but that's not how Isagenix works. And if you've been to an event, I mean, that Isagenix as a whole, it's the most beautiful community. Honestly, it's the happiest place on earth. Forget Disneyland. Come to an Isagenix event, and it's like nobody's business. And the other thing that I love so, so, so much about it is our ownership. I remember at my very first event, I was about a month in, and I had just popped Crystal Manager, so I was really excited. I got my little certificate. I got to walk across the stage, and Kathy Coover was the one on the stage, letting us do the wave and everything, and I got to meet her. And there's many even companies that I've been a part of, again, on the executive team, and I never got to meet the owners. I never even had a conversation with the owners. And here I was just a month in, and I'm meeting the owner of our company. And, I've had the pleasure of meeting and knowing Jim and Kathy on a personal level, and they're so caring and humble, and they truly, truly care about each and every one of us. I mean, they came out of retirement to build this health and wellness company to free people. And they didn't need the money. They certainly didn't need the extra work. They were living large in their 50s, and they came out of retirement with John Anderson, who was also in retirement for us. I mean, that speaks volumes about their passion for health and wellness and wealth creation. Would you agree? You love Isagenix as the company? Yep. Now, the compensation plan. How many of you on this call have made at least $1? At least $1 in Isagenix. Okay, I'm seeing every single person raise their hand. So the compensation plan, I would say, works. I've never gotten $1 from Fry's, which is a grocery store out here for Arizona, for eating their food. And here we are at Isagenix eating their food, and every single person on this call, almost 200 of us, have at least received $1. How exciting is that? And, many of you have made more than $1. Many of you have made hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands from Isagenix. And our compensation plan is so beautifully written. It's so beautifully executed. It's very fair. It works if you work it. Nobody just gets lucky. It isn't just enrolling the one person and you're going to strike it rich. You got to work for it. And the harder you work and the more people you bless, the higher amount that shows up every Monday. How many of you got paid today? Is it Monday? Yeah, it's Monday, right? I don't even know what day it is. It's awesome. How awesome is that? You start to forget what day it is. But that's amazing. The harder you work, the more people you bless, the more you get paid. And if you're not happy with what you're getting paid, then you're going to have to bless a few more people. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit more and stretch yourself. Okay? That's all it is. It's very simple. You're getting paid exactly what you're worth. I know it's hard to hear sometimes because it feels like we're working our butt off, and we are. It may just not be an income producing activity that's going to generate the amount of lives blessed that you would be happy with. Would you agree? Cool. So we love our compensation plan. Do we believe in it? Thumbs up. 10 out of 10. Network marketing. This is where the number in belief starts to fall. Because maybe you've been a part of network marketing before and that company failed you. Or maybe you've had friends in network marketing that were the crazy people that would stalk you, that would make you have a party in their home, that would call you every 5 seconds or blow up your news feed on Facebook with whatever, I'm not even going to say what I was thinking. Maybe you've had a bad taste in your mouth over network marketing, and I get it. And you know what? It's hard work. It's hard work. And not everybody wants to work that hard. And for whatever reason, you know, we hear the words pyramid scheme or multi-level marketing. It's not that. It's not. First of all, pyramid schemes are illegal. We are servicing people with the most amazing products on the planet. It's that simple. We're sharing it, and they're sharing it, and they're sharing it, and that's all it is. Like I said, it's not weird. Lululemon. I wish it was a network marketing company, because I'd be a gazillionaire by now. You know, again, we're just sharing what we love. It is not complicated. When you think about all the services that you use, my hair, the person that does my hair, Julie, like she works on referrals. That's how she built up her clientele. You know, your car dealer, you refer people there all the time. You know, house cleaners, you know, I'm always looking I would much rather have a referral from somebody that I trust than just going on Google and saying, who's going to do my lawn today? Or who's going to come into my home and do things in my home? I'd much rather know that somebody that I love and trust recommended this person. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah? Isogenics is no different. I mean, the reason I started Isogenics because I saw Daphne with my very own eyes. I knew her and I knew her well. And I was like, oh my goodness, you look amazing. What are you doing? And I trusted her enough to at least try it. And then I just didn't want to talk to her. I was like, don't talk to me about anything else. Just go away. Because I was in my own personal yuck. But that's my point. You know, we trust each other. People trust you. You trust other people. Network marketing is not weird. It's the most brilliant industry in the world. I mean, you work one time and it pays you for the rest of your life. Do you know many other things that'll do that for you? I mean, I could have a really great week selling cars, but guess what? At the end of the week, I had to go and do it all over again. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a dime to my name. And if I was really good at it, which I was, they'd want you to exceed that the next week. And that was stressful and a grind. And when my dad passed away and I had to take 2 weeks off and I worked on commission, it was all gone. If something happened today, I could take 2 weeks off, completely shut down me and my Isogenics business, and I'd still make the same money or more at this point because I've done the work. Is that exciting for you? Don't you love doing the work once and getting paid over and over and over for it? And if you're that good and you are really using your heart of service, they'll stay in the game a lot longer. And we'll get into that a little bit later. It's really, really important that, you know, we don't do the work once, collect the PIB and say, good luck with that. See you later. Peace out, Boy Scout. No. You know, the retention in your organization will be a direct result of you and your heart of service. So network marketing, I know most of you, like you said, you got paid $1, so you're kind of believing it. Maybe your belief rate in you doing network marketing isn't where it needs to be. I mean, you might see me and be like, well, that works for Trace. It's awesome. She's a rock star, whatever. But maybe you're doubting yourself. Maybe you've had a few no's. Maybe you've done a few Facebook posts and nobody's like crickets. And you're like, maybe I just suck at this. And I don't want you to think that because it's not true. None of that's true. You know, maybe you just need a little tweaking. Maybe it's your posture because you know what? 90% of communication is your posture and your confidence. Even on a Facebook post, you can read right through somebody who's not feeling very confident. You're going to have to build yourself up and you're going to have to stop comparing yourself to others. And we're going to get into this at the end. I'm going to really focus on posture and belief in yourself and confidence, because it's everything. It's everything. You know, you can say all the right things, and we've got all the beautiful tools and templates to help you. And it's great. It's great that we can have simple tools and systems, but we can't teach confidence, and I can't teach you posture. You're going to have to find that fire within yourself. And I know I talked about it either in the prep week or week one about, you know, don't ask me to light your fire. Don't ask me. You got to be able to at least have a little flame, and then we can help you fan it where it just, you know, that confidence explodes out of you. And yeah, like I said, I'll get into more of that at the end. I don't want to hammer on that too much, but I really want you to know that I believe each and every one of you could be great at network marketing. I really, really do. It's that simple to just share what you love. If you are casting a vision of not just, hey, join Isogenics and it'll be great. You know, you want people dreaming again. And sometimes when we come to Isogenics, myself included, I hadn't dreamt in a long time. I hadn't even I thought this is just how it was going to be, 40, you know, doing the grind. And I hadn't even really thought about a bigger vision. And, you know, when you cast that vision big, not just, you know, with their health or their finances, but listen, if you could do anything today and you didn't have to worry about a schedule or your bank account, what would you be doing today? You know, get people starting to think again. And that is something that really is one of my favorite parts about network marketing, is to be able to listen to people and hear their hearts. But you have to ask questions and you have to listen. And that is honestly the best part about network marketing, and you doing it is, I know all of you care about people, right? You want to raise your hand if you care about people? Okay, y'all better be raising your hand. Okay, I'm seeing all of you. That's good. Paul Jenkins, I don't see you raising your hand. You better raise your hand. Okay, both hands. Good job. I know you love people, so don't make it weird. Just, you know, share what you love, share your heart, be open, be vulnerable, and then get to work. It's going to be amazing. Now, the last thing that we need to believe in is ourselves. Not just doing network marketing, but ourselves and how we manage through our day. And I won't get too much into this. I kind of want you to chew on that for a little while. You know, where is your belief needle in belief in yourself in all things? When you look in the mirror, are you saying nice things to yourself? Are you? I know you would never say the things that you say to yourself to a stranger. And this was probably my biggest challenge, because I am my biggest critic. Was a perfectionist. I haven't labeled myself in a long, long time. So quit labeling yourself. Stop saying you're a red, you're a blue, you're a this, you're a that. You are beautiful. You are beautiful the way you are. You are not a perfectionist. You are not. We will not. That's the biggest form of self-abuse is perfectionism. And I'm a recovering perfectionist, so I can say that honestly. You know what? Love yourself just the way you are. Give yourself a perfect effort every day. Keep your promises to yourself. And I promise you, things will start to fall into place. You'll start to love yourself more. You know, speak positively to yourself. Whatever is going in your ear is probably what's reflecting out. So if you're listening to negativity or around negative people or watching negative things, chances are you're probably spewing some stuff out that isn't so great. So we'll touch on that later. But belief is really, really important. You know, some of my favorite leaders in this company and outside of Isogenics have such a beautiful vision, and they cast it. They have strong belief in not just themselves, but anybody that they touch. They see greatness in everybody, as do I. I see greatness in each and every one of you guys. I really, really do. And I'm looking at all your faces right now, and you're making me smile because you're so beautiful. And you all have amazing, unique qualities. You don't have to be a cookie cutter Tracy or anybody else. You just be you. You use your personality, because people love you. They do. They really, really do, and they want to hear you. So I want you to kind of think about that. You know, if you know that you are saying not so nice things to yourself, or you can't take a compliment, I was the worst. I was the absolute worst, let me tell you. So I can tell you that. I was a jerk. I really was a jerk if anybody complimented me. And, you know, just know that even if you're not saying it out loud to yourself, if you're thinking it, I guarantee that's coming out in your posture. Even if you're saying all the right words, it's coming out in the way you're exuding confidence. So we're going to work on that this week. We're going to work on belief and belief in ourselves this week. We be cool with that? All right, you guys are kind of quiet on me tonight. All right, good. All right, so we're going to bust into our 90-day game plan, and we're going to talk about sharing your story. And I know many of you have shared your story, whether it be in person or on the phone or on social media. We're going to talk about all of that. And, you know, the most important thing that I want you to know is sharing your story compliantly. And I know compliance and that whole word scares people. And I want you to write down, I know you're all taking notes, I want you to Google Isogenics compliance. And there's a beautiful article in your back office. It's just easier to find it this way by Googling it. And you will be able to look at the questions and answers, you know, the frequently asked questions and answers, things like that. We're going to touch on some of it, but I want you to know you have a resource at your fingertips. There's an email of the compliance department if you're not sure. If you're not sure if something you're about to say is compliant, don't say it, because chances are it's not. And I'm going to tell you right now, if this company gets shut down over a non-compliant story, I'm going to find you and I'm going to kick your butt. Because I love Isogenics. I love their products. I love their whole culture. I love everything about it. And it could take one story to take the company down if we're not careful. So it's that important. And I know that sounds scary, and maybe some of you are like, well, then I don't want to share my story. I don't want to get the company shut down. I don't want Tracy after me. No, please. We're just going to educate ourselves, okay? And you know, we're going to tell the truth. And we're not going to use diseases. We never have to talk about a disease in order to tell a very compliant story, even if we have had some great things cleared up as a result of putting great nutrition in our body. We do not claim to prevent, cure, diagnose, treat any kind of illnesses, so don't even use the words. And even if you're in private with one other person, don't say, well, I'm not supposed to say this, but, you know, I have fibromyalgia, and oh my gosh, I've been on this Isogenics for 30 days, and I'm a new woman. Don't you dare. Don't even say the word. You know, you can say things like, you know, I just wasn't myself. I had so many things going on in my life, and I just felt like a truck hit me every day. I mean, use my code word, because that's pretty much my code word. I felt like a truck hit me every day. You know how many people? And not only that, I mean, if you're using like a disease, you're alienating a whole bunch of people. Every single person on the planet can relate and understand what feel like a truck hit me feels like, right? Wouldn't you say that part of the story is touching everybody? It's way more effective and it's compliant. Would you agree? You know, these are soft feelings, you know, my clothes didn't fit right. I mean, you can say I was fat, but we don't want to say that. You know, we don't want to offend anybody. I don't like the word. I really don't like the word fat. You know, my clothes didn't fit. I had a muffin top. I had spillage where I shouldn't have spillage. You know, things like that. So when you're telling your story, I know, looking at your faces, I know many of your stories, and I know some of you did have health concerns and severe health things going on. And I'm so grateful that you care so much about telling a compliant story, that you have worked really, really hard to make sure that you know the right verbiage, what you can and can't say. If you have started Isogenics as a result of a health issue that you are having and you aren't sure how to say it compliantly, please email the compliance department or work with a leader to help you have the right wording. You know, some of my closest friends in this company have had some major, major stuff. And, you know, Lindsay Brzezinski, I'm going to call on you, because Lindsay was one of those people that had lots of health stuff going on. And in the beginning, she was afraid to tell her story, because she just felt weird about it. But as she knew that she was going to share it, then she was worried because she didn't want to say the wrong thing. Lindsay, are you on here? I'm trying to find you. You said you would be, so.
I'm here.
Oh, good. There you are. So, you know, when we talk about sharing the compliance story, tell us the process you went through in order to do that, how you've shortened it, how your story today, even though, you know, your experience was very kind of pigeonholed, how your story now covers a whole wide range of people because of how you tell it, and you tell it the right way. Can you kind of walk us through what that looks like?
Absolutely. And there was a couple of times I didn't tell it so compliantly, but as you always say, we don't know what we don't know. So I'm super grateful that I was able to learn and to take the time to learn, because the last thing we want to do is be out there sharing a non-compliant story and be the reason that something happens. I mean, that was just huge. And I appreciate you saying that tonight. That was huge for me. And also, I love what you said about alienating yourselves, because I really realized that not a lot of people could identify with exactly what I was going through, and I was losing people. And as I learned to share my story compliantly, it actually opened up to a whole lot of people. So I have a lot of people telling me, I can't do what you do because I don't have a story like you. And it's interesting because my story is just the same as everybody else's. I mean, how many moms can identify with being tired, exhausted, not being able to do the things that you want to do, not being able to be the mom you want to be or the wife you want to be, and feeling stuck in your own skin in a body that is no longer serving you in the way that you know that it can. And so I just kind of learned to use different verbiage that was going to reach everybody, because the truth is everybody needs what we have. And as I've spent time sharing my story that way, it's way more effective. So don't get up in your head and say, I don't have this, amazing health transformation. It doesn't matter, because something else I learned, when we're sharing our story, it should be short and condensed, and then we should shut our mouths and listen, especially when we're out and about, because we don't know what somebody's going through. Let them tell you. Be more interested than you are interesting, and let go of this idea that you have to have this incredible, transformation or this major health concern that now you're walking around feeling so amazing, because honest to goodness, the whole world needs to feel better. We all have the same food sources. We all have a lot of the same energy problems. A lot of us have the same money issues. This is universal. So I don't know if that's answering your question, but.
That's so good. So, tell your short and condensed compliant story. And I'm just going to let you guys know, Lindsay did have a lot of severe health issues. I mean, severe. And, I love how she tells her story now, because like she said, it touches everybody, people that weren't going through because of how she was feeling. Everybody can relate. And it's so beautiful to watch you tell it now, and I hear it differently every single time. And that's another thing. She's got the same story, but the way God puts it on her heart to tell it, or because she's listened to somebody and what their needs are, she knows what part of her story to tap into that she knows they could relate to, and maybe have that trust and credibility with them, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really the secret sauce. If I had any secret sauce, is really listening for, first of all, what they're asking for. Listen, are they saying, I'm so tired, I really wish I could lose weight? I mean, I share my story in 5 different ways for the 5 different solutions. So, I'm happy to share my story.
Okay, I want you to share 3 of your 5. So do it for maybe the tired mom. Let's do it for the runner, the athlete, and then a wealth creation shortened story compliant.
Okay, I'm gonna have to write this down.
I know, yellow.
I'm not labeling myself, but
Yellow tendencies.
Tired mom.
Yes.
Runner. Wealth creation. All right, I got this. This is the thing. If I write stuff down, it's so much better. Who knew? Okay.
You guys, this is how amazing this is. And so, like I said, I've got my list of people who wanted to step up, and, Lindsay had no idea I was going to call her out today. So this is not rehearsed. This is not planned, but she does work on herself and her story a lot to make it what it is. So, again, this is network marketing. If you were in college, you'd be showing up to class. So I appreciate you all being here tonight, but Lindsay has put in many Isogenics University hours in order to really nail this. So let's hear the tired mama.
Okay, so somebody might just tell me, oh, I'm so tired. I get it. I used to be so tired too. I was frustrated that I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do. And I just so desperately wanted to be able to get off my couch and live my life. I was introduced to this system by my great friend Trisha Wilkins, and I've been using it for 2.5 years. And now I'm waking up before my alarm clock. I'm able to do the things that I want to do. I have energy through the roof, and everybody deserves to feel this kind of energy. It is amazing. Can I add you to my support group? Would you like to hear more about this?
Nailed it. See, that was amazing. And after we're all done, I'll give you kind of like the tool that she's using that we all use to kind of keep ourselves on track, because she nailed the template, but she made it her own. It wasn't like scripted. Amazing. And you know what? If I was a tired mommy, I'd be like, okay, whatever Kool-Aid you're drinking, sign me up, because you're like shining like a Christmas tree and I need whatever you've got. See? Like, boom, exactly. Mic drop. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, now the athlete runner. Let's hear that one.
Okay. Oh, I just want to up my game. Oh my goodness. I hear you. I used to be a runner. I was doing competitive 5Ks, and suddenly I found myself not able to compete or get out there and run the way that I wanted. I was introduced to these amazing products by my friend Trisha Wilkins, and I've been using them for 2.5 years. Not only have I now competed again in 2 half marathons, I'm out running as much as I want, when I want. These products have absolutely been a massive game changer. I would love to be able to share, more about these products with you. Would you like to be added to my Facebook group?
Woo! Nailed it. Okay, so both of scenarios, I mean, mind you, Lindsay started with severe health issues. Not once in either of those stories did she even talk about it, because you know what? The person she's talking to doesn't care. That's not part of their story. But she knew the little parts of her story that would be a solution point for them. Okay, so now here comes the business story, and this is really, really awesome. So let's hear you nail it.
Okay. What would be the scenario? Let's see.
Okay, so, oh my gosh, Lindsay, you know what? I just came back from Chicago. My dad passed away suddenly, and I'm stressing out, not just because my dad passed away, but like I can't pay my bills because I work on commission, and the traffic, 2 hours a day, Lindsay, it's just driving me crazy. We're girlfriends, so I'm just telling you. I'm tired. I'm tired of the grind.
I appreciate you opening up to me and sharing that with me. I know that must be such a frustration for you, and I've had so many friends that have had that exact same experience. And I was introduced to this system that when I came into it for the health, I had no idea there was this beautiful compensation plan attached. And my friends have shown me how to not only get my products paid for, but how to be able to really make an income for our family. And it's something that I didn't even know that I needed until I realized when my grandma passed away, and I was able to go to her funeral and be there with her, and I was still getting paid. And I want that for you too. Everybody deserves to have a life of freedom and be able to choose when and how they spend time with their family and what they're able to do. Would you be interested in hearing more about this compensation plan?
Absolutely. And you know what? I could use some energy too, so I'll take whatever you're having.
Yeah. That was a little tricky because for me, income wasn't one of the things that started me with Isogenics. So I was kind of flipping, going to my friends. I definitely need to refine that story.
No, actually what I was going to say about that is because you at the time when you started were a stay-at-home mom, partly because you were so sick. So you maybe couldn't relate to me as a working mom. However, you did use friends' stories, parts of their stories, and how they felt like I did. So that was perfect. And then you pulled in where you didn't even see this part of it coming because, you started for your health. And, you could even say, I know you're tired and we can get you feeling good, but there's another part of this too that I think that would really interest you. So you nailed it. Oh my goodness. And
thank you. I'm going to work on that actually, because you just gave me something to work on. I've actually never done that one. So I appreciate, if you don't mind me sharing, something I learned this weekend at the Super Saturday that really touched me, and I used it this weekend when sharing the compensation plan. I actually shared our wealth creation story, but I more pulled her into the vision. I more talked to her about, you know what? Can you imagine if in a few short months you were able to wake up and feel like yourself again? I believe that everybody has a square in the quilt called life, and I just love when we all go through things, we turn around and we pull people back through, and we show people this incredible life, and we show people what's possible and where they can go with this. And immediately, she didn't even hear the you plus two, them plus two. She's like, my sister, my mom, my neighbor, I want so many people to join this. And so that was another way that I have shared that. So
that's how I kind of cast the vision too. Like after I've asked a lot of questions, you know, because I mean, I could talk honestly about 24 hours about my story and all the different moving parts of my story, but I realized that who cares? Like nobody cares. The vision is so, so key. So when we're asking lots of questions, I mean, in the back of our head, you know, this is about them first and foremost. This is not about us. You know, we started for us, but once we said yes, and once we said yes to saying, hey, I want to be part of the Isogenics business, and, you know, we leave our ego and our story at the door for us at least. And, you know, if you're asking lots of really good questions, you're going to know what parts of your story are important. And also you're going to know how to cast that vision because, you know, if you had just said to me, Lindsay, can you imagine as a single mom, never having to worry about child support again, or, you know, that 2-hour commute each way that you sit in? Can you imagine?
Yeah. So yeah, that's good. I'm going to work on that.
Or can you imagine, you know, instead of having somebody else pick your kids up from school, that you're the one that gets to do it every day? You know, those are like, heart tugs, you know, so you cast the vision, whether it be their health or the wealth part or their performance, you know, let's say their energy and performance, or let's say you got a grandma. It's like, hey girl, can you even imagine looking younger than your 40-year-old daughter, grandma? I'd be like, yeah, I can, you know? So, you know, forecasting what's going to happen, it's kind of like the 14-day talk, which we'll kind of touch on later. But that's so, so key because you want to cast a vision that they so desperately want. And that's why I say, you know, when you ask them, if you didn't have to worry about punching a clock or what's in your bank account, what would you be doing right now? You know, and so when we're vision casting, we could even say, can you imagine what you said before? You could do that every day if you wanted to. Or can you imagine, you know, actually running a 5K with your kids instead of, you know, being the one at school taking the pictures, but you're right alongside them, you know, if that's something, you know, so, you know, you would know those things to kind of cast out there if you're asking the right questions. So beautiful. Thank you, Lindsay.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anything else to add about sharing the story?
Oh, taking it off, back off mute. I think just something that I have really learned, and maybe nobody has struggled with this. I swear I have an FBI mind. And so I'm always looking for the setup or so. I'm just so weird like that. And so when somebody told me there was a template, the first thing on my mind was, you want me to go be a robot? Are you kidding me? And it's so silly because we have to learn these templates because when we get out and about, it's kind of scary when the situation actually arises if we're not prepared. And so what does that template do? It really puts total recall in our mind so that we go through the right order, but we share it very authentically and genuinely. It would be so weird if somebody said, I need to lose weight. I understand before Isogenics, I was overweight and that would be so weird. You don't do it like that. And that's what I want to share. You know, you can simply say, I understand. I used to feel the exact same way. I was uncomfortable in my skin and just felt like everything I was trying wasn't working. I was introduced to this amazing system by my friend. I've been using it 2.5 years. I've not only lost 80 pounds, I feel comfortable in my skin. And I know that you can feel that way too. You know, and so you're using that template in order, but in your own authentic and genuine way. We are not out there to be robots, but the templates matter. The systems and the tracks matter because it's the only way we show our team how to be duplicatable. And it's the only way when somebody says it and you're in an airport all of a sudden, you're in the grocery store and that moment happens, if you're not well rehearsed and if you're not well practiced, you will freeze. Trust me, I have frozen, and then you walk out of the store and you hit yourself in the butt the whole flipping way to the car. Has anyone been there? Like, we do that. So that is why we use templates right there.
Like, if you don't know what we're talking about with the template, I want you to Google Isogenics 30-second story. It's so simple. And, you know, as Lindsay told her story, even though she told 3 different stories, you know, she has the bullet points of the template where I could say my own 30-second story and it would not even sound remotely close to her, but it went in the same order. And, you know, I totally understand before, you know, and she didn't even say before Isogenics, which I love because I don't like saying before Isogenics, but she said, I used to feel that way too. And she nailed off like 3 different things. You know, because you want to keep them short and sweet. You don't have to run through the whole list of your entire story. And I verbally vomited all over people, whether it be via text, message, or in person. So thank you, Lindsay.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Without any warning, what you needed to be in your core. So thank you. You're
Thank
awesome.
you.
Now, as far as like in person, I know a lot of people are like, well, what do you say to strangers? What do you say to strangers? And I get that, you know, that's why that 30-second story is so key. And, you know, you're going to have different parts of your story. Not all parts of your story is about weight loss. And if you're talking to, you know, 100-pound mama who's exhausted and your story in your mind is only about weight loss, you may not even talk to her. And that's not fair because she needs this, even though maybe your story isn't that. But if she's talking about how tired she is and she has no energy, I guarantee you have part of that in your story. Would you agree? Even if your story is weight loss, she doesn't care, and you don't need to tell that part of your story. But you can tell the parts of your story that maybe have to do with energy or exhaustion or whatever. And you know, people say, well, how do you talk to strangers? And you know, I didn't like this in the beginning because I'm an introvert anyway. So for me to even get out of the house, maybe you can relate. I'm a very big introvert. And, you know, if I'm leaving the house, I kind of want to put the hat on and kind of like lay low. And part of that had to do with my confidence, to be honest with you, before. I'm still an introvert, but I am very intentional when I leave the house. Even if I'm not like going out to talk to strangers, I am that person that when you see in the grocery store, I'm the one who looks you dead straight in the eyes, always. And I smile every single time, or I say, hey, how are you? I'm always telling people how beautiful their smile is, if it's true. If they're a bitter Betty, I'm not telling them they have a nice smile, but I will compliment them to try and make their day, because you never know what they're going through. You know, a bitter Betty may be a really big shining star, but she's just had a really shitty day, you know? And so maybe just paying a compliment, or, you know, I'm a touchy-feely kind of person, even though I'm an introvert, and just like, I'll put a hand on my hand on somebody's shoulder sometimes, say, how are you today? You know, and people are just like, whoa, that's so cool. You know, some people I might freak out and I really don't care because it's nice and it's out of love. And if you're afraid, you know, love trumps fear. You heard me say that last week, and it really, really does. If you really do have a heart of service and you want to love on people, then why are you afraid to say hi and smile and put a hand out on them and say, I hope you're having a great day, or, you know, you look like you need a smile or something, or, you know, look like you've been hugged today. I mean, that's a little pushing it. I get that, but, you know, I've done that. Like, I've actually done, you know, and they're like, hey, I'm so-and-so. And I'm like, come here, give me a hug. You know, and, you know, the introvert in me is like, what the heck are you doing right now, Tracy? But I'm very intentional because I do believe that the world needs us. I know that my heart of service is so massive that there's nothing to be afraid of, because it's, you know, love trumps fear every single time. And so if you're afraid to do that, you aren't in love. You aren't in love with this. And I'm going to hold you to that. So every time you're afraid, I know you're going to start hearing my voice. I'm like, dang it. She says, love trumps fear, and I got to go say hi. And yes, you do. Because even if it never leads to you telling your 30-second story, you know what? You probably just made their freaking day. And that's a beautiful thing. We want to make people's day. We want to make people smile. We can all use new friends, you know, even if it's just to say hi. And, you know, there have been times, and you know what? I was so frustrated. I was in Seattle over the weekend, and I had the most incredible experience. I'm going to write the hotel. it was this guy met me at the door. He's from Hawaii or something. He was Samoan. He was amazing. And I have never seen customer service like this in my life. And I went, he came running to help me with my bag, and he was so great and super kind, and he looked me straight in the eyes, which that for me is like, if people can look you straight in the eyes, that's amazing. So I'm like immediately attracted to people that do that. And he was just really kind. And I'm like, wow, you're really good at what you do. And he goes, this is my first day. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me right now? And he was just so kind. And we were just talking, we immediately talked about, like, he goes, you have a beautiful heart, I can tell. I said, it's everything. And I talked about, love always wins. Love wins every time. Love never fails, even when you're having a bad day. Like, today is a bad day for me, but love never fails. And him and I were talking about that. And then, of course, the day I was checking out, I had to stop back at my hotel to get my bag. And sure enough, I don't see anybody there. All of a sudden, he comes around the corner. I'm like, oh my goodness, how was your day? He goes, I haven't stopped thinking about you. He goes, I was telling my sister about you. And I said, oh, and because the beautiful people in Seattle gave me flowers. I said, what's your sister's name? He goes, it's Tracy. I'm like, shut up. I'm like, here, you bless your sister with these flowers today. I swear to God, he almost cried. And, we took a selfie, and I was going to text to him, and I totally forgot to ask for his phone number. But oh my goodness, like, making that human connection. Of course, he probably would never end up in Isogenics, but what an amazing human being. So I'm going to give that guy the best review, find out his name, maybe even send a little gift card because he was that good. But that wouldn't have happened if I was my introverted self and just say, yeah, here's my bag, good luck, see ya. Where's my plane ticket? You know what I mean? So make that human connection. And that is uncomfortable for me still. Like, doing that is still uncomfortable for me. But love trumps fear. And if you really want to be the person that you say you want to be, if you want to be the leader you want to be, then you're going to have to overcome that and look people in the eyes and just smile, even if you're having a really crappy day. And I guarantee that will help them and help you get out of your funk. Because I had to do it today, and it felt really good to smile at somebody after today. So, okay. And also a good way to kind of spark up a conversation, wear your ISA gear, wear it all the time. You strivers, I know you got lots of strive gear. Put stuff in your shaker bottle. I've seen people, empty out an Ionix bottle and use it as a water bottle. Stir up the conversation. Wearing workout clothes is one of the best conversation starters on the planet, because we're all in activewear these days, and especially if you're walking around in the middle of the day in your activewear, people want to know, do you have a job? No, it's great. That's what I do. And you just, again, you start asking questions and you listen. But the best way to start conversations, and I'm going to say this every time, is be a product of the product 100% of the time. And it doesn't mean you don't have pizza or a few cocktails if you so be. I don't, but I do eat the pizza every once in a while. I'm not saying not to live your life, but being a product of the product will have you glowing from the inside out. There's no denying people that are doing their isogenics on point. There's no denying we're in better moods. Our skin is glowing. Our hair is good. We're happy. We got the ionics going through the blood. Okay, so be a product of the product. And for those of you that have not registered yet for our challenge next month, I'm watching you. You all say you want to be a 2%er, and that means doing the work. You can't be asking people to do something that you're not doing, so you've got to be a product of the product, okay? Can we agree to that? That's the best conversation starter of them all, especially for people that haven't seen you in a while, and all of a sudden they're like, whoa, what's happening now? So connecting with people, obviously be genuine. People are attracted to real people. They can spot BS a mile away. My BS meter is so on point. And if somebody's coming up, I'm like, oh gosh, stop. Be genuine. And if you're going to offer a compliment, make sure you mean it. Don't just be throwing around compliments like they're dollar bills because you're trying to start a conversation. I know when somebody's blowing a smoke up my ass, I can't even handle it. I'm like, oh my God, just go away from me. I know I look like hell today. You don't have to tell me I'm pretty. It's okay, because I'm not. But if somebody has a beautiful smile, or they have a sparkle in their eye, or you saw somebody do a really great job at a store you're at, or if you're in a coffee shop and the Starbucks person knows your name and spells it right every time, come from that genuine place. I'm telling you right now, the smiles I have received as a result of a compliment I have given when I really, really meant it Like, isogenics never even comes up in the conversation, but that is like the best, to know you made somebody's day, and that maybe, you know, they're not going to bite somebody's head off because you were really nice to them. Maybe they're going to go home and be really, really nice to their kids because somebody made them feel good. Okay. And you know, if it leads to a conversation about isogenics, or, hey, you start a conversation, hey, are you on Facebook? Awesome. Like, if you aren't friends with these people on Facebook and there's a way to work that into the conversation where at least they can be friends with you on Facebook, that is amazing, because that starts a conversation in of itself as they watch you. I have friended many people out and about, and I never even tell them what I do. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'd love to be your friend. Are you on Facebook? And I don't even talk about isogenics, but all of a sudden they start watching me. They're like, holy moly, like this was just the girl at the deli counter. And she does some pretty awesome stuff. And then the questions start. I'd rather build a relationship that way. She knew I was a really nice, genuine person in the store, but now she's watching how congruent that is with every part of my life, at least on social media. Then she asks a question, then she gets put in the Facebook group, and then she sees that. And it's just a beautiful marrying of the relationship. Would you guys agree? You can shake your head if you agree. So don't make it weird. Don't make it weird. And, you know, Jessica Johnston at Celebration nailed it. She goes, you know, sometimes we're in line at Starbucks and we run into somebody and we're like, all of a sudden we're enrolling them. We see them blowing out our business center. We know that they have like 10,000 people in their network and you want all of them in your isogenics team. Like, take the time to build the relationship, especially if you haven't seen them in a while. You know, that it is way more effective, because if you start going in like a car salesman, even if you're friends with them, they would never join you. They would never join you. If anybody comes at me at all, even remotely sounding like they're going to hard sell me, I'm out, even if I want their product, because I can't stand it. Like, I have always been in the relationship business. Even when I sold cars, I was very different than most car salespeople, because I was all about building relationships, and it's why I was so good. I didn't have the quantity that as many people had, but I had the quality. And the same thing is applied with me and isogenics. I don't have the quantity of enrollments that most of the huge builders have, but I have the quality, and you guys are all that quality, because we've built relationships with each other, because you're building relationships within your organizations, because you're not afraid to talk to people because you love, right? Would you agree? Awesome. Okay, if you're like kind of like in a funk, or maybe you feel really good, I know many of you have started working out again, or maybe if you're like me, you have a few different gym memberships, or, you know, you're taking yoga now, or you're taking all this fancy spin classes. You know, don't just show up. Like, talk to people, meet new friends, you know, meet new people. This one was hard for me because I don't like to talk to anybody. I know it's weird, right? But start, you know, doing new things that maybe you wouldn't have done before. If you're into like cooking, take a cooking class by yourself, not with all your girlfriends, but one by yourself, and meet new friends. Will it lead to isogenics? Who knows? But you know what? I bet they're on Facebook, and you can start building a relationship that way. And as you go, you know, don't be afraid to try new things. Go volunteer. You know, my daughter's volunteering now. I'm sure she's meeting a bunch of people, you know, and it's a beautiful, you know, and doing things like that. I mean, when you work with volunteers, I mean, my goodness, what hearts of service volunteers have. Are you kidding me? I would love an entire business center filled with people who love to volunteer. There's nobody with more big hearts of service than volunteers in all areas. So, you know, if you're finding yourself, isolating yourself, I'm not mentioning any names, but I'm one of those people that does that. Force yourself to go out. Again, you want to love on people, then get the heck out of your house. Try something new. Meet new friends. Okay, can we agree to do something new and scary this week? Yeah, I don't see everybody saying yeah. Okay. All right. You know, social media, this is really, really important, and I'm not going to go too long on it because we talk about it a lot. It is important. I don't want to keep you late tonight. The most important thing, again, on social media is to be compliant. Again, over 80% of your organization will be product users only. So if you're going to be posting about things that, you know, the solutions in the health portion, you know, things like energy, sleep, fitting into skinny jeans, or for guys, you know, performance, or, you know, whatever that looks like. A guy, just feeling good again and not tired. Things that are feelings that, like Lindsay said, can cover a wide range of things. Don't be stuck in your own story. You want to touch on different parts of your story. Especially, most people are walking around tired, face planting at 3:00. They don't have energy. Their clothes are tight. Those are the things I would say most people, when I started into clarity, like when I would say my very first Facebook post, I said the words, I actually remember why I walked in the room today. Like that alone had tons of people say, I could have written that word for word. What the heck are you drinking? Like, I literally remembered why I walked in a room today. It was not more, like, that wasn't a before and after picture or, a great bikini shot, but that was a feeling that somebody could relate to. So when you're posting on Facebook, you want to touch the heartstrings. Yes, people are visual too. I get that. And before and after pictures are important and powerful. Again, if you're going to post a before and after picture, if it's not your own, make sure you know the story. Because a lot of times people say, well, what did they do? How did they do it? How long they've been doing it? And then you start having to backpedal because you don't know the story. But I see a lot of people posting all about the money part or the wealth creation part. And I'm not saying not to. But that comes across kind of car salesy sometimes, especially on social media. I believe that people can kind of read through it. I think freedom living is really important, and casting a vision of a different lifestyle and not having to have people pick up your kids. But, talking about dollar amounts, I don't really love at all. I think it's a turnoff for a lot of people. And it can come across kind of condescending sometimes and not very humble. I'm not saying it's not important to cast a vision of wealth creation. It really, really is, because most people, even though they come for health solutions, there's a financial crisis in most people's homes. And I don't take that lightly. But the reason they're going to start has very little usually to do with the wealth creation part. So you'd rather have that come into play later, like me. I mean, even though I was broke as a joke and really had no idea how I was going to keep a roof over our head next month, I did not want to talk about the wealth creation side because I couldn't even feel good. Like, how can I even think about, doing this network marketing business if I can barely sleep at night? I can't remember why I walk in a room. I hate my life. I'm negative. Like, really, you want me to go talk to people? No. So let's get people feeling good first. And I promise you, within 2 weeks, usually the light bulb goes off, and they're a lot more open to that vision, that wealth creation story down the road. Very few people that actually crush this business start for the business. So you need to remember that when you're casting the vision. Remember, people usually start, especially even your top 100 income earners in this company, started for the products and a product experience. So let's get them the best experience as possible and show our loving, caring, humble side, where they're comfortable coming to you with whatever they're going through. Would you agree? Awesome. Building relationships and networks on Facebook is really important. We've talked about unfriending a lot of your Isagenix friends. I get it. People get those feelings hurt, whatever. Let it go. You don't have time to be messing around, especially if you're working full time. Use Facebook as a tool. We love each other, but you need to really, if you feel like you're working on this all the time and your income isn't reflecting that, I bet if I looked into it, where the biggest time waster is on Facebook. So you're going to have to be really, really mindful and intentional when you hop on. You're going to have the blinders on. It's really, really important. Get into new groups. Start building relationships. Don't drop your Isagenix story in those groups. You'll get kicked out. Don't do it. And I would hate for that to happen when you could have built just beautiful relationships and meet new friends and, activities that you like doing. Let's say you love horses, find a horse group and just start making friends in that group. And then if it comes up, great, it comes up. If they friend you on Facebook, even better, because then they're going to see what you're doing. But be that light in whatever group you're in, not the Isagenix light, but be the light in the world. Shine your light bright. The world needs more of that. And I promise you, if you are shining it bright enough, people are going to want to be your friend. They're going to want to be around you. They will want to be around you. But if you're going in like the car salesman, I promise you, you will be like repellent. Okay? Can we agree to be love and light in all things, in all ways, Always. All right, awesome. Prime posting times. Okay, and this is really important. I mean, keep your stories beautiful, humble, kind, loving, sweet, be of service, show that you have a servant's heart in your posts. But if you post it at like 10 o'clock in the morning, nobody's ever going to see it. And I know 10 o'clock in the morning is usually after we get the kids off to school, and it's the only time we've had to breathe all morning. You can use things like Buffer or Hootsuite to plan your posts. I know there's a girl that I see on this right now. She always posts at the worst time, and she always has something really great to say. And unfortunately, it doesn't get the action that it deserves because nobody sees it. Because by the time people are on Facebook, it's at the bottom. So, you know, if it's before 9 o'clock, post it. Usually something uplifting to get people's day started. After 6:30 p.m. is a great time at night. Sunday nights is the best. Monday nights is the second. That if you're going to have something powerful to say that you want people to see, those are the times to do it, especially. I like Thursday nights too, because people are heading into the weekend. They're doing the Thank God It's Friday dance, and you know that weekend rolls on by on them really, really quickly. And Thursday nights are one of my favorite, you know, throwback Thursdays to a time, you know, you can tell your before isogenic story without saying before isogenics. You know, you could tell a 30-second story, a portion of your 30-second story on a Thursday night. You know, it's really, really important to be consistent on Facebook, to add value to people. It is a reality show. People are addicted to it. When I talked about it at Celebration, people are on social media 4.7 hours a day. So that's where they're going for their entertainment. So be a storyline that they want to binge watch. Can we agree? Awesome. We'll touch on social media throughout the weeks, but I just wanted to kind of talk about telling your story, make sure it's compliant, make sure 80% of it at least is geared towards people that will start for the products. And then we can sprinkle our little lovely wealth creation later. Now, getting people started, you know, usually we'll make friends with them, we'll connect with them, we'll put them in our Facebook group, and then what do we do? What do we do? You know, when do we follow up? When do we ask the hard questions? When do we get on the phone? When do we do three-way validation, whether it be through a phone, through a Facebook message, or even a Zoom? I love using Zoom for the three-way call because I love to look people in the face. You know, one of the biggest and best third-party validation tools is, you know, this is why it's really important to be very active in Strive or your product page or your health page, because you're going to know tons of different stories. And within our group, luckily, we have 30,000 people of amazing stories. Because let's say I'm talking to somebody that needs to lose 100 pounds and they can't relate to me. They can't. But I know probably about 10 100-pound loser people in our page that I could be like, okay, hey, you, I'm going to connect you guys together. I'm going to find their story that I know they've written, or I'm going to let that person know, hey, I'm adding a beautiful person to the group. She says she wants to lose 100 pounds. If you could give her a little extra love and part of your story, I'd appreciate it. Because since people are in social media 4.7 hours a day on average, I like to use the third-party validation within our Facebook group too. Because people are less likely, especially when they're starting out, to get on the phone for a three-way call, and I get that that's hard. They're easier with Zoom because they can be in their own home or whatever. But I love using the Facebook group as a third-party validation. But then you got to follow up. You got to follow up. And, you know, Jen Newman, are you on this? I saw your pretty face earlier. If you can unmute yourself.
Hi, Trace.
Hi, gorgeous. So I want to talk to you about following up because, you know, Jen just moved all the way across the country. You know, when she started, she worked full time, and then she resigned from her position and went back for a little bit before the move. And, you know, she's got a daughter, and then they moved across the country. So she had to be meticulous in the people she's talked to and following up with those people. And did you have like a system, or how did you know, like what was your average follow-up time, and what tools did you use to keep yourself organized for following up? Or did you say how many people you added into Strive or whatever? Like share your experience with that.
Oh, absolutely. I think that following up is so critical. I've been a victim of someone saying they're going to do something or to send me information, and then bailing or disappearing. And so I really want to honor that relationship to anyone who is looking at this. I want to honor it, because with the product that has so much integrity and a company that has so much integrity, then we have to have that much integrity in the way we handle anyone who wants to trust us to learn more. So when things got really crazy, what I did is, I still am a write on paper kind of girl. It might be old school and totally antiquated, but that's what I do. So every time I add someone to Strive, I have a list of exactly who's there. And I check that list about every 2 to 3 weeks. I go back and see who's still in there, make sure everybody's still cooking with gas. What I've noticed is that I've learned the hard way that sometimes giving people the benefit of time can work against us. It's always amazing to follow up. What I've realized is to follow up pretty much within a couple of days after them getting into Strive. I'd say within that first week, asking, that to me is such a great conversation starter. Again, like when we put them in Strive, there's not an awkwardness to follow up and ask them, what do you think of Strive? Aren't you loving the transformations? Isn't that amazing? And that has been, no one has ever said no. So that has always been really great to be able to do it that way. But when I had weird hours where I didn't feel like I could do that in real time, then I made sure to literally chart out when I was going to do that. And I would go through and I would do voice messages. I would do I love the follow up with video. And that I have found is faster than I can necessarily type. So I will do that frequently. And I had someone who's been sharing with a lot of folks, and I had to follow up with her 14 times before she enrolled. And so I believe really, truly in the follow-up. And I don't feel like I'm being a nag. I don't feel like I'm being a hound about it. I feel like I know I've needed to be, I need follow-up. There have been plenty of times where someone's needed to ask me more than once, or you forget, or you get busy. So that was really important. I see a question that says, explain follow-up with video. That's such a great question. So on Facebook in particular, when you have Facebook Messenger, that is the greatest tool. Is so good. And for those of
That's on my list too, because I was like, the voice message and the camera is so powerful. So go ahead and tell them how you use it. It's amazing.
So I love it. What you do is when you're on Messenger, you will see the option. There's a little microphone. And if you go and click on that microphone and hold it down, you can record a voice message there. And what I love about it is that you can't get too crazy verbal on it. Otherwise it'll cut you off. Good for people like me. But it keeps it short and sweet. And typically it's something just, hey, I'm thinking of you. I just wanted to touch base, see how you're doing, et cetera, et cetera. And then you send it. What I love about Messenger is you can tell when people have received it. So that's also great in the follow-up. If you see that someone hasn't read a message that you sent 2 weeks ago, send another message. Or if you don't feel like they're reading their Messenger, then go back into the original post that you welcome them in Strive and check on them there. Say, oh, you know what? I just found another video. I thought you'd appreciate this. Keep that. It really is important to do that. The video in Messenger is great, especially for birthdays. Yes, I'm a singer. Yes, I will sing happy birthday to you on your birthday, because that's me. And if all of a sudden I get weird about talking to people, then people think then they know something's weird with me. And so you have to do what works for you. But also, if you get to record it and send it, that means you get to do it on your own terms. And if you are nervous and if you are introverted and it is awkward to do that, then do it. And then you can watch it first before you send it. If you're like super nervous about it, at least you can kind of get a sense of what you are like on video. And that's really helpful too.
That is amazing. And that's been one of because in the beginning when I started Isogenics, I didn't have that tool. And I was like, and I know many are like this, because I was afraid I'd ask a question that I didn't really
We'll be here.
And who is that? Okay. And I didn't want to sound stupid. And so I would just verbally vomit in a text or a message. And now I love that, oh, I gotta mute this girl. Now I can, just record a video, let them see my face and my excitement and my confidence, or let them hear my heart, which is so, so important because people get blasted and it's personalized then. It's not just like something that's copy and pasted or something like that, because I can't stand when I'm getting those too. Like I'm immediately going to block you if you're copy and pasting something to me. But yeah, keep letting them hear your voice and your heart. And that way, if they ask you a question back with a video or a voice, you can look it up if you don't know, or you could give them a tool, which is even better. Or you could say, hey, I'll connect you to an article in Strive or whatever, you're using a tool somehow. So what do you think has been the biggest challenge for somebody who's worked full-time, moving, life is happening, to stay organized with following up? What's your number one tip for people?
My number one tip for people is to make sure that you touch this business every single day. You guys, Tracy's not kidding. I left my corporate job in December. I caught the vision for Isogenics. I knew I was in a toxic situation. I left it. Then I was full-time, but you know what? I had to learn real quickly how to be my own boss. And that was also, talk about juggling and learning and being a toddler, definitely. Then I went back to work. And what I can sit and tell you and look you in the eye and say is that I touched this business every single day since the day I decided I was going to do it. And sometimes that may only be for a few minutes. And yes, I have definitely had moments where I didn't touch it as much as I wanted to in one sitting, but I touched it every day because then it's top of mind. It's just like your Facebook feed, folks. It's the same thing. You want to have it at the top of mind every single day. And so sometimes that did mean 12 o'clock at night. Sometimes that meant literally I'd get stuff crafted on the subway. We lived in New York City and I didn't have cell service, but that was a time to do it. And you don't have to overthink it, and you don't have to spend hours and hours on this to be successful, but it is so important to touch it every day. Tracy told me that a long time ago. She said it's easier to do it a little bit every single day than to start and stop, start, stop, start, stop. And that's true. And that has been the most useful for me, was just making a note. If I did nothing else, I would follow up and make sure that the people that I had interested were at least getting some touch from me. And they knew I was busy too. They saw it on Facebook. They saw what was going on. And I think too, that also makes it that much more genuine when you're able to make them a priority and they don't feel like they're getting the ick factor. Does that make sense? Like, I thought that was really helpful.
Touching it every day is something you want duplicated. I've taken lots of vacations in the last 3 years, but I still touch my business no matter where I'm at. Even though financially, I don't even have to do that if I don't want to, but I want that duplicated, and everything that you do or don't do is duplicated. So if you kind of like go on hiatus, everything that you do will trickle down, including those habits. And so get used to touching it. Following up with a system like she's got, or keeping a list, is way more important than scrolling your Facebook feed. I promise you. And if you are scrolling your Facebook feed, no matter what, and I know we all are, because if we're in this business, we are on Facebook and we're doing it, and I'm going to call you out if you say that you don't, but you don't have time to follow up, then your income producing activities are in the wrong area. The number one income producing activities is talking to new people and following up with them, hands down. So thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. Got some great stuff that you wrote. One thing that I want to share, I'm not very good at sharing my screen, but I have this spreadsheet that I use because I'm a keep it in my head kind of girl, which is kind of dangerous. I do write stuff down. I have sticky notes everywhere. I'm a sticky note junkie. But that wasn't always working for me because I wouldn't remember where I'd have them. I don't even want to show you what my computer looks like right now. It's a hot mess. But keeping a little hit list, a spreadsheet of things that I want to make sure everybody's doing. Let me see if I can share this. This could be really weird. Okay, let's see. I think I did it. Can you guys see that? Is it just this starting them right thing, or is it all my whole thing?
Starting them right.
All right, perfect. So this is kind of like the things when I'm getting somebody started that's really, really important. Letting them know, because here's the thing. I don't want to know everything about everything, and I don't even want to act like I do. You're doing yourself a disservice if you are, telling them everything about Isogenics. You want to let them know where the tools are, isoproduct.com, isogenicshealth.net. Thankfully for our organization and our team, most of those articles and everything are within Strive. We're always putting in articles from both of those. But you want them to use the tools. You want them to use the Facebook support group. Immediately putting them into Strive for Change. The minute they ask you any questions about what you're doing, I always say, I'm going to add you to this amazing, beautiful, loving support group that is full of people that do what I do, and we love it. I'm just going to add you in. I'm going to welcome you in. It's private. You don't have to worry about anybody seeing it. So, you at the top, I have their first and last name with their associate number as well. Okay. And if they haven't enrolled yet, obviously they won't have an associate number, but if they do, because you're not going to kind of just spew all this on them all at once, right? The most important thing is the support group. First thing is usually. I usually have that 14-day talk with them as I'm enrolling them. And if you guys don't know what the 14-day talk is, Google me, 14-day talk, and you'll find it. You don't send that video to people, but it is a template. Again, it's a template for you to use. And I apologize for the recording. It's not very professional, but I didn't expect it to go viral like it has. But it is a super, super helpful, useful, duplicatable tool that casts a vision of what's going to come. All right, and it's going to let them know that 14 days from now, without even trying, somebody may ask you what you're doing. So once we've talked about it, let's say at that 14-day mark, they're like, oh my goodness, my sister totally wants to do what I'm doing. And so then I have a conversation about, well, we have a great referral program, and I'll go into maybe the compensation plan just a little bit. We don't want to overwhelm them with that. And, I add them to the Strive for Biz, maybe the Isogenics business group, Isogenics events, and Isogenics recognition group. We want them to see the culture and the amazing support and tools that are at our fingertips. 4.7 hours on Facebook. You want them in those groups, right? Especially if they've expressed an interest about sharing. Doing a one-on-one check-in. That's part of my 14-day talk. The first 14 days, I want some kind of contact with them. Whether it be, email, text, voice, whatever they're comfortable with. And if they aren't checking in, that's not going to be X'd, and I need to find out what's going on. Not to micromanage them, but just to pay extra special attention if they've gone kind of dark. You want to make sure that they're not falling off the grid. Getting them into whatever contact management system you have, whether it's My Isogenics or whatever you use for any kind of organizational contact management. So you've got their phone number, their email. I like to get addresses. I'm not great about it, but I'd love to get their addresses because I love to send handwritten notes and things like that. When we do start talking about sharing U+2, I love the Lynn Hagedorn video. It's very, if somebody wants to know more about the comp plan and they haven't even shared with anybody yet, I said, let's just share it with 2 people first. And when you get to that point, well, I'll share with you what's next. And I'll share with you what's next. I will paint a bigger picture, but I don't want to inundate them with a ton of information and videos because people that are overwhelmed or confused don't do anything. So we don't want to just go there. And what I've noticed is they'll do it a lot faster if they know they're going to get more information. Okay. And if they're like me, they'll just Google it and find it all anyway, which I honestly prefer if somebody takes that initiative, because then I know I got a fireball like me on their hands, which is really, really cool. The Map to Crystal Executive is absolutely my favorite business tool on the planet. Getting people to print that out and put a date on it, put a picture of their why next to it is so powerful. And having the conversation of what that looks like, that is the biggest painted picture with the times that they need to hit stuff. And if they are really wanting to do this, they're going to understand what that means. And if they need a little explanation, it's good. And it's simple. It's a 1-page document that they can print out and put anywhere. And it's duplicatable. If you can get people to executive as fast as humanly possible, they're going to maximize this compensation plan. And if they are maximizing this compensation plan, they are not going anywhere. And you want them duplicating that. And then, of course, getting people enrolled in the IsoBody Challenge and the Healthy Mind and Body Challenge right away is so super key. So if you haven't taken a picture of this, I hope you did. I'm going to try and post it later, maybe in our group. If you haven't gotten it, well, sorry. I've had it up there long enough. Okay. I don't know how to undo it. Hold on. Stop share. Whew, I did it. So you don't see it anymore, right? Awesome. All right, I've got about 5 minutes left, and I don't want to keep you too long, but I'm going to end again on belief, because I think this is where people fall. All right, we have a few hard conversations, or somebody we love very, very much says, you know what, you're probably not cut out for this, or really, you still doing those shakes? Really? You're gonna pimp out shakes out of your car, or, you know, they're just gonna say some mean things. And I'm here to tell you that they don't have any power over you and what you do unless you give it up. So that's on you. If you allow that to rattle you, that is on you. If you allow what people say to penetrate you, that is on you. The only reason you are not going to succeed at this is if you actually quit, or if you give somebody that power. And I know all of you want to help people. You've all told me you want to be this beautiful servant. And, you know, again, love will trump that fear every time. And I know that, you know, the devil shows up in people we love sometimes. And that, I'm not denying how badly that does hurt, because it does. It hurts a lot. And I still get it. So I get it. However, it does not control or move me away from my vision, ever. Life circumstances, even the hard ones, are not going to move us as a family off of our vision. I mean, Joey is on this call right now, and he's had a pretty rough day too. And he is here participating because his vision is crystal clear. So the other thing that, the two important things that I do, you know, when I started Isogenics, I had cleaned house of my social network locally. I didn't have any friends here. I had one. My friend Kim and Casey and Joey, my two kids. I really didn't have any friends locally. And so building a network marketing business when you have no network here in town is pretty difficult. But I took that challenge on. It forced me to come out of my introverted self. It forced me to show my face in Gilbert, Arizona when it wasn't very liked. That was scary for me. It forced me to make new friends and smile at people and love who I was, because I was beautiful. I'd made some bad choices, but I was a great person. My heart was beautiful no matter what. And I needed to start telling myself that and believe it. And so I would force myself out of the house every day with no friends. And I would go to new gyms and meet new friends and tell myself, you know what, Trace, you're doing a great job today. You're doing a great job today. You smiled at people today. You looked up over your baseball hat today. And, you know, slowly but surely, the right people showed up. You know, the right people did leave, and it was painful, and it's still painful, but the right people started to show up. The more confident I became, the more willing I was to step out of my comfort zone. You know, people will say, I'm stressed, I'm busy. You know, stress is just a cover for fear. Let's just be real. It's just the white collar way of saying, I'm scared to death. You're not stressed, it's fear. It's fear, and love will trump it every single time. So maybe you have to manage some things a little bit better. Maybe you have to have hard conversations within your home if you're getting that resistance at home. But one of the things that happened to me is as I was growing in myself and becoming more confident, and, you know, I still fall, let me tell you, I still have to rethink some of the thinking I do sometimes, not very often, very, very few and far between at this point. But the right people started to show up, and very quickly, you know, I realized that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And the good news before was, even though I was surrounded by jerks, at least I was the best jerk, you know, but I was still a jerk. I mean, I'm being really, really honest. And you know what? You know, I can tell kind of where you're going to go by who you're surrounding yourself with, the 5 people you spend the most time with. And, you know, as my quality went up, so did my standards. My standards started to go up, and so did the 5 people I surround myself with on most days started to go up, and everything started to change. Everything started to get better. Did it mean I had to, you know, disconnect a little bit with people that I love very much, including family? Yes, I did. Was it hard? Absolutely. Did I get some pushback? You know it. Is it worth it? You got it. You got it, because I'm setting that example in my home for my kids, and they're doing the same thing. So no, you know, if you're not where you're at, or you're feeling a lot of negativity, I'm just going to have you take a little personal inventory of maybe the 5 people you're spending the most time with. It's a big one, and it's a hard one when you have to look in the mirror and be like, oh shit, I attracted all of this, because that's what I did. You know, I was the best jerk, but I was still a jerk, you know? But now I'm pretty darn proud of myself, and I do think I'm pretty amazing. And you know what? The 5 people I spend the most time with are exceptional, and they keep my bar raised, and they make me work harder to be a better person. If you're playing along with subpar people, guess where you're at? You're at subpar, and you're not going to hit any of these goals that you want. You're not going to attract the people that you want. Doesn't mean you're a bad person, but it's safe. I get it. I played safe for 40 years, but you're not going to hit the goals that you want to hit by playing small. All right. And here's the other thing, you know, I constantly, if I am not on the phone or on a Zoom or having time with my kids, and even when I have time with my kids, we either have a sermon blaring in the background, we've got Tony Robbins cranking through our surround sound, we've got, you know, a podcast that's really positive. Thank goodness they're on board now, so they're like, who are we listening to today? It's awesome. But positive in is going to be what comes out. You know, if you're filling your brain with negativity, you know, and I was one of those that liked to just kind of numb out on Netflix for a while there. And I was not sleeping very well. I was dreaming some funky stuff. And I was wondering why I was a little bit off, because whatever you're putting in is what you're going to be putting out. So fill your brain. If you're in your car, you know, I gave you those 2 amazing audiobooks, you know, the Energy Bus and the Carpenter. Those are amazing things to have pumping through your ears at all times. If you're at the gym, you know, don't listen to music as much. Put positivity in, unless it's a really good positive, you know, music. I'm telling you, this has made single-handedly a big difference in my sleep, in my attitude, in my leadership, in my focus, in my clarity, and in my vision. So it's really, 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 really important. And the last thing, you guys, you know, don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself to me, to anybody else. This is your journey, and we are all here to support you however fast you want to take it or however slow you want to take it. If you're telling us you want to take it fast, then you're going to have to do the things that make it go fast. You can't wish for it, because faith without works is dead. I'm here to tell you. You know, I can pray to God, please, please, please let me blow up my business center. But then if I'm, you know, kicking back and not checking in with my people or following up or sharing the Isogenics story or sharing my story, do you think that's going to happen? No. No. So don't compare yourself. You don't know where people started. You don't know the work that they've done on themselves, but it is up to you to give a perfect effort, to know your vision, to be able to cast a vision for other people, to surround yourself with the right people, to share your heart and your love, and know that if you're afraid at all in this journey, just push that aside, cover it with love, because it will trump it every time. Okay? Are we good for the week? I'm 3 minutes over. Sorry. Good stuff? How many people we still got on? We still got almost 200 people on. That's pretty good, right? So this recording will be up, and I got a lot of angry people at me. You know, one of the things, and I'll just end on this, you know, I prayed really hard about releasing this to all of Isogenics. I knew that I would be opening myself up to a lot of not just criticism, but people would be angry with me, because it is time sensitive. And the reason I give you 48 hours is because, you know what? We knew this was a 90-day game plan. That we're going to take massive action. And so you can find an hour and a half in 48 hours to listen to this at least once. You can. And if you got something great out of this and want to listen to it again, know that you have it until Wednesday night. And it's really, really important. And, you know, people gave me every kind of reason in the book. And I could have given every single reason today why I couldn't do this call. But I showed up. And I didn't want to. I really didn't want to today. I didn't have it in me. And I honestly, like, I was scribbling notes, like, really, am I even going to be able to talk about this? And I'm just sharing that with you transparently, because I get it. Sometimes we don't want to show up, but we have to, because we made the commitment to us, to our teams, to our children, to our why, to our vision. So for those of you that are watching this on replay, bravo for getting it on. I applaud you. And now the goal is, you know, we talked about what our action things are and things that we can improve on. And I mean, Lindsay and Jen gave some great training tonight on, you know, telling our story and following up. Now it's time to take action. And what I have found that if I leave this video up for all ends, you know, next thing you know, 2 days, 3 days a week, 2 weeks goes by and they've got a backlog of videos to watch. And the next thing you know, they're like, oh, I'll catch the next 90-day game plan. And that's just not how goals are hit. So I'm going to be a hard ass and I'm going to keep it to the 48 hours. And I know that our team is full of people that say they want this. And so now it's time to put the money where the mouth is, schedule it in, put in the earbuds, don't watch, you know, Game of Thrones this 90 days, whatever, and, you know, show up and do the work. So I'm really, 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 really proud of you. I am so in love with each of you, and I'm grateful that all of you showed up, that you do the work. You lead by example, you lead with love, and you're sharing your love and light on the world. So I love you guys. All right. Peace out.
Thanks, Tracy.
Love you.